What do you do when you've lost hope? What do you do when your tired body beckons you home? What do you do when you feel like you just want to quit, when you want to give up? I've been there. Have you been there? I think we've all been there. How does that pertain to weight loss and 110 pound weight loss transformation like I'm pursuing? Well, let me tell you, it's story time with Dude. Hey, or something like that. All right, today's story time with Dude. I'm going to go way back in time. This is like mid 1990s. My very first sales job that I had was with a little marketing company. Started by one of my good friends, actually. He ended up becoming one of my very best friends, one of my mentors in life. He's taught me a lot of what I know today, actually. I'm like a photocopy of him. I'm the lesser version. I'm the parrot that spouts off what he has taught me in the past. So in today's story time, I want to go back to the very beginning. It was more of a telemarketing job, not really telemarketing though. We weren't like calling hey, this is, Dude from AT&T or something like that. Switch your long distance service. No, it was actually phone sales, corporate phone sales. We were doing business to business, calling executives, mostly vice presidents, HR directors, training and development directors, people all over the country. These guys didn't mess around. It was hard to get their attention. It was a brutal, I got stories to tell, but it was a brutal sales game. And before I ever even got started, my wife worked for a company. Still, this is maybe even before we were, or right after we were pregnant. She was still working with a company, and she was doing video editing, actually, of all things. And this company did like technical training videos that people could buy on like how to certify in all these old school programs that nobody uses anymore. And she was in the editing department, and they had a sales department. They were selling these things on VHS tapes, if that tells you anything, right? If you're like under 30, you're like, what are you talking about? If you're Gen X, right? And so they're selling VHS training tapes for technical stuff. And anyway, they had a sales department, and they had a small little commando team. The company was pretty successful. They're locally born in my little town here that I live in. And I remember there was a guy there named Paul, and my wife, he was the top dog. And when I got this job and I was about to start calling on the phone and working with businesses all around the country, my wife went to this buddy of hers at the job. His name was Paul. And she says, "Hey, my husband is starting a sales job. You're successful." I mean, this guy was making bank. He was doing really well for himself. And she goes, "You're one of our top guys." She goes, "Do you have any tips I can give him?" And he said something that probably changed me and started me on a path for the rest of my life. That I've got all sorts of stories. But he said there's this little book by Og Mandino called The Greatest Salesman in the World. He goes, anytime I get down, I read chapter 10. Chapter 10 of The Greatest Salesman in the World is the scroll marked 3. The scroll marked 3 is about persistence. It starts off with, "I will persist until I succeed." And he said, every time you just tell him, this is like the prescription here. Anytime you get down, anytime you feel like quitting, anytime you feel overwhelmed, anytime you feel tired and exhausted, you tell him to pull this out and read it. And being the non-avid reader that I was, I went straight to chapter 10 and read chapter 10. I made a photocopy of it. I kept a copy of my desk. I kept a copy of my car. And I literally have read that thing so many times over the last 30-something years. This is water. I want to share a couple of verses with you and a couple stories. And I won't bore you by reading the whole thing, but All right, it starts off like this. I will persist until I succeed. In the Orient, young bulls are tested for the fight arena in a certain manner. Each is brought to the ring and allowed to attack a picador who pricks him with a lance. The bravery of each bull is then rated with care according to the number of times he demonstrates his willingness to charge in spite of the sting of the blade. Henceforth, I will recognize that each day I am tested in life in a like manner. If I persist, if I continue to try, if I continue to charge forward, I will succeed. Then it has my favorite verse. I cut this one out. I put it in my car. I put it in my pocket. I put it everywhere. I could pull it out and read it. I'll persist until I succeed. I was not delivered unto this world in defeat, nor does failure course in my veins. I am not a sheep waiting to be prodded by my shepherd. I am a lion, and I refuse to talk, to walk, to sleep with the sheep. I will not hear those who weep and complain, for their disease is contagious. Let them join the sheep. The slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. Now, I've read that thing 1,000 times. Things that stick out to me is, one of the lines that I live by is, I will not hear those who weep and complain, for their disease is contagious. Man, is that true, guys? Man, think about the crabs in a bucket theory. Think about all these different things that we've talked about. If you're surrounding yourself with negative people, those who weep and complain, it is contagious and it is a disease, for it causes dis-ease. It shakes up the nervous system. Weeping and complaining, moaning and groaning, it is the killer of dreams. It is the enemy of progress. You've got to eradicate that negativity from your life, and maybe even people from your life if they are like that. So for me, just trying to totally be positive and stay 100% focused. And then another line that really stood out to me was, I was not delivered unto this world in defeat. Have you ever seen a baby? I remember when my first child was born, Taylor. Man, they come out, and you got this little teeny gem, God-given gem, and you're just going, they're perfect. There is no hate. There is no guile. There's no spite. There's nothing but purity in an infant. And I don't see how people can dismiss the magnificent creation of human life. And they learn all of the negative and poor behaviors throughout their life, right? From observing from a young age, from infancy, their parents, their family, their environment, and we absorb all that stuff, right? And it's all that negativity that is a disease, and it's horrible. So you got to eradicate that from your life, but you're not born that way. You're not born unto defeat. You're born to succeed. Everyone uses the lions over lambs things. I'm a lion. I refuse to talk, to walk, to sleep with the sheep. The slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. I love that. I used to just repeat that over and over and over. And did it get hard for me? Absolutely. We got our butts kicked in the beginning, man. We sucked. We were horrible. We were on the phone. We're like, hey, right here in Utah doing this thing. What do you want? You just got all these like high-powered CEOs, executives, small business owners to large corporations, just basically eating our lunch all day long. And there were so many times that I wanted to quit. So many times I just said, this is not for me. But I'd read this next verse. The prizes of life are at the end of the journey, not near the beginning. It is not given to me to know how many steps are necessary in order to reach my goal. Failure may I still encounter at the 1,000th step, yet success hides behind the next bend in the road. Reminds me of Blaine Simmons, my old scoutmaster, yelling at me, progress. We're just, just around the corner. It's not up to us to know, right? I'm on a 110-pound weight loss transformation. I'm about 32 pounds down. I got a long way to go. ChatGPT says I could be there by next March if I stay on this path and stay on the plan. But it doesn't change the fact that every day is like a effing with your mind. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of persistence, determination, focus, drive to want to do it every single day. There are so many days I just go, oh, screw it. I'll eat what I want, or, I'll do what I want, or this, that, or the other. I have an excuse, a million reasons why I can't. And you have to have that persistence to say, no matter what, I'm not giving up. The slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. And it's not up to me to know. Failure may I encounter at the 1,000th step, yet success hides behind the next bend in the road. Kind of like this YouTube channel. It feels stagnant. I've been doing it for 100 days straight or more now, and there are days I go, I don't want to make a video. I just really don't want to do this. But you know what? You never know when the next thing's going to hit. You never know when the next thing is that's going to connect with people, that's going to motivate them to maybe get off their butt and get off the couch and go outside and go on a walk and follow in the footsteps that I'm laying before them. Because I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it with you. I've got 70-something pounds to lose still. There's still fat everywhere, right? I'm not skinny. I'm not to my goal. The best time to find this channel is right now while I'm in the thick of it, because we're doing it together. And for those of you who are here, it's pretty awesome because we are doing it together. One last line I want to do. It says, henceforth I will consider each day's effort but one blow of my blade against a mighty oak. The first blow may cause not a tremor in the wood, nor the second, nor the third. Each blow itself might be trifling and seem of no consequence. Yet from childish swipes, the oak will eventually tumble. That is transformation, guys. This is not easy. You want to lose 100 pounds? It's not easy. You want to, go from 40% body fat down to 12. It is not easy. You want to pick a new diet to follow. I don't care what it is. Vegan, carnivore, keto, balanced, whole foods, macros, Whole30, blah, 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 blah. It's not easy. We all have cravings. We all get tempted with food. We all have temptations to be lazy. We all have the natural man and person inside of us that wants to, procrastinate and make excuses. It is not easy. But just as it says, one blow of your blade against a mighty oak may not even cause a tremor, but over and over and over and over again, eventually the oak will fall. And that is how you do it. You got to have that mindset of I will persist until I succeed. I adopted these principles. I read them over and over and over till they were burned in my brain. At one point, I'm pretty sure I had the whole chapter memorized. Now I can always remember bits and pieces. But still, even today, I'm not necessarily in a day-to-day sales position anymore, but I still think, if I persist, I will win. I'll persist until I succeed. The slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. I'm not a lamb. I'm a lion. Go take what's mine. And we're going to hit our goals. And those are the things that I have to keep replaying over and over in my head, because when I do, tell you how the sales thing worked out. Got my butt kicked for a while. Got lots and lots of extra training from my boss, who was my coach and mentor, and spent many, many nights being done at work at 4, but being on his couch till 8 p.m. And he worked with us and trained us and role played with us, and we got better and better and better. And eventually, I wouldn't say I was ever the number one man, because there was another guy named, we called him J-Rod. He always beat me, and really made more money than me. He was a little bit higher in the got a higher average sale, consistently, probably more every day. But I had this thing where I'd get laser focused and I couldn't lose. And I broke I had the highest number of sales in a day, the highest number of sales in a month, the highest sales volume for the month, the highest sales volume for the day, the highest number of credit cards versus invoices for a day, for a week, for a month. There was all sorts of little records that I broke. And it was just beating down the lines, and just being persistent, sticking with it. And when someone would say no, just next, who cares? Boom, got one. And that mentality is not easy, right? But it works. And you got to apply the same mentality right here, right now, to our goals, into our transformations. So I'm 32 pounds down. I'm not giving up. I'm pulling things out of the woodwork, dusting off the old books and stuff and going back and going, I got goals right now. I got to persist. I can't give up. I can't quit. I have to eliminate the words from my vocabulary, such as quit, cannot, unable, impossible, out of the question, improbable, failure, unworkable, hopeless, and retreat. For they are the words of fools. So if you find yourself thinking things like that, you got to roto-rooter that crap out of your head, and you've got to understand those are the words of fools. You'll never, ever hit your goals self-doubting yourself. Number one person that's got to believe in you is you. Self-esteem comes from self. It doesn't come from anybody else or anything else. You're not going to get it from a spouse, from a friend, from a coworker, from a boss, from an employee, from a girl or a boy or whatever else you want to label it. The only person that's going to give you self-worth is you. So let's go forth and conquer. That was my story of how I learned and put into practice the art of persistence. So thanks for joining me with Story Time with Dude. And we're doing this every single day. We're going to hit our goals, and accountability shorts are coming again here soon. I've kind of just been tired and worn out this week. So I was sick earlier, so I apologize for that. Thanks for everyone who joins in and tunes in and supports. And guys, I'm here to just tell you right now, if you persist, you will win. If you persist, you will succeed. I don't know how long it's going to take, but if you don't give up and you eliminate that negative vocabulary, you eliminate that negative self-talk, and you just put that good stuff in and keep doing your daily action items, you will win. So look forward to winning together. I'll see you in the comment section. We'll see you tomorrow. Doing it every single day. Hope you follow along. Dude out.